So does Blade still hold up in 2022? Does Blade hold up as a 6-star? Alright, what is going on, my dudes? Today we're going to be starting a new series on the channel, one that has been requested kind of in a way, and one I've been wanting to do for quite a bit. We're going to be calling it, like, Do They Hold Up? Where we take, like, those old school, super, ultra, mega, beyond god tier champs, like Blade, how Blade used to be, like, the most relevant meta champ in the entire game. Over the years, he sort of fell off, and part of that is because he's only very recently released as a 6-star. Over the past couple of days, he was introduced in those cav crystals, right? You had, at most, 4 chances at a 6-star Blade. So only a few people in the world have him right now. He's not released in, like, real cavs yet, hasn't been in Arena, hasn't been in the featured 6-star crystal yet. So Blade as a 6-star might be the rarest champion in the entire game at the very moment, okay? But over the next couple of months, he'll probably be in cavs, probably be in Arena, and probably be in the next featured 6-star crystal. So Blade as a 6-star is going to be coming to the game. So let's see if Blade still holds up in 2022. All right? So personally, I've always really loved Blade. Blade was like my guy back in the day. Blade and Starkey, I know that's like not like a unique kind of combo there, but you know, I did all of Act 5 with 4-star Blade and Starkey, and then I got 5-star Blade. He was one of my first rank 5s. Him and Starkey, I did all of 100% Labyrinth with him, and I did, you know, Act 6.1 with him, and then as time went on, my roster started growing, and I started moving away from him and moving to other champions, right? But Blade is a really good champ, man, even in 2022, I think, so we're going to jump into some relevant content today and see how he does. Now, if you don't know how Blade works, first of all, what's wrong with you? What game are you playing, right? Everyone knows how Blade works. He has some really solid synergies here. He doesn't have many synergies. This is really all he has, okay? He hasn't gotten many synergies throughout the years. In fact, he's gotten none for him. So the best ones, of course, are right here with Dormammu and Mephisto. Danger Sense bonuses expand to include all Mystic champions, okay? Over here with Ghost Rider, all villains, okay? And then with Starkey, plus 45% potency for Danger Sense bonuses. Now, for the 5th slot on the team, it really doesn't matter. You have like your holy trinity, right? Blade, Ghost Rider, and Starkey. For the 5th spot, you could bring in Hercules if you run Suicides for some more damage. You could bring in Guardian for some more block efficiency while you're healing, right? You could bring in Mr. Fantastic for those debuffs, but I'm going to opt to go for White Magneto because he is a hero. So we gain plus 8% attack rating plus the ability to get that pre-fight, which is really, really great. So if you actually don't know how Blade works, I will explain it to you. He's very good at the end of the day. He has a lot of abilities that are very useful. He has on-demand regen just by holding block from his Sig ability, which is great. He has the ability to parry and place a bleed on the opponent. This could be anything. This could be like an Iron Man special 1 beam. You parry it, there's a bleed on the opponent. The special 1 puts 2 bleeds on. The special 2 has 500,000 hits and puts 200,000 bleeds on the opponent, as you'll see in just 1 second. Another thing, when the opponent's bleeding, look at our power bar here. We just gain power when there's bleeds, and we also gain power on the special 2 whenever we apply a bleed, because when we crit, we put a bleed on. So we're pretty much chaining special 2s here without a skill power booster on, right? Pretty darn nuts. Now his special 3 is pretty cool as well. His special 3 has a 70% chance to stun the opponent and a 100% chance to put 3 long bleeds on the opponent. Now, as you can see, his damage is pretty decent, okay? Definitely pretty decent, no doubt about it. But look at this. Look at how fast we're going to gain power. It's pretty nuts here, and right to a special 2, almost back to another special 3, right? So that's definitely not too bad. Now, his regen at Sig 200 is pretty nutty. In fact, let's take a look at it here. Down from 1% health. Let's just see how fast we regen up. Now, if you don't know, if you're not an experienced Blade player, when you're playing Blade, your base health pool is essentially going to be living at 71%, okay? 71. That's like where Blade's health pool stays the entire quest, okay? Because his regen is so potent, it's so powerful, right? That you can be blocking specials, you can be using suicides with the recoil mastery, just going crazy, and you just regenerate everything. You don't go higher than 71%, that's where it stops, but as you can see, his regen potential is very strong. Now, Blade, he has a very strong mechanic called Danger Sense. Now, Danger Sense works against all dimensional beings, with Dormammu, all mystics, and with Ghost Rider, all villains. And back in the day, when all of the main, hard-to-fight champions were mystics and villains, right? Blade dominated. But as you can see here, against villains and mystics, when he has Danger Sense, increased attack, and also a lot of ability accuracy reduction, Blade is still a very, very good option for these fights. So this is going to be Labyrinth Red Hulk. Now, I said back in the day, I did Labyrinth with Starkey and Blade, right? So going into this fight here with Blade was very nostalgic for me. I remember doing this fight, like, what? 5 times with Blade, right? To go for 100% Labyrinth back in the day. I used like rank 5 or rank 4 5-star Blade for most of it. Look at the power gain here. We're literally like chaining special 2s. It's actually pretty crazy, man. And Red Hulk is kind of just melting. Now, we are running 5 out of 5 deep wounds here. Blade doesn't need deep wounds, but it definitely does help him because you extend the length of the bleeds. That's always great. Not just for more damage, but also for more power gain. Now, the special 2, man, is just so satisfying to just shoot off like that. And just look, we're back at another special 2. Red Hulk is just about at 50% health already. So Blade is kind of like one of those champs where, like Magneto, for example, like let's talk like, like White Mags, right? Where like White Mags, he gets the metal magnet bonuses against metal champions, and he's very underrated, very good champion. Or even like Red Mags, if you love Red Mags so much, well, we'll talk about Red Mags as an example. He's amazing against metal champs, right? Amazing. Just like Blade is amazing against villain champs and dimensional beings, right? He's amazing for them. He gets a huge attack bonus, and he reduces their ability accuracy. It's awesome. He's also very good and very decent against non-villain, non-dimensional being champions when he doesn't have this Danger Sense. Now, is he as good as we're seeing right here? No, that's the thing though, okay? So is he still good? Yeah, and depending on the lane, he could be very useful for these fights. But at the end of the day, Blade kind of fits like a situational role for me nowadays, where if I pulled a 6-star Blade, I think I would happily rank 3 him personally. I have a Skill Awakening gem I've had for a long time, and I think I would pop it into him, take him to at least like Sig 20, and I think I'd be happy with that. Just for like nostalgia reasons alone, to be entirely honest with you. But I think that he's pretty darn good still in 2022. Now, for example, just his sustainability is so good. Not just his damage and ability accuracy reduction. Look at his health. We're running the suicide masteries and we're throwing specials like it's nothing, right? Just all the time spamming special attacks like crazy, right? And we're just regenerating all the recoil damage, and we're going to be finishing off this fight at Blade's 100% health, which is 70% health. That's Blade's health bar. He has 70% health to me. When you're fighting with Blade, this is your baseline right here, and this is where we're ending the fight. We were all the way down to 40% health at one point, right? And we threw so many specials after that, like it was absolutely nothing. So what I want to do now is we're going to take a little journey into Act 7, all right? We're going to do this entire lane only with Blade, because I think that Blade is going to be so good for this lane. And I also have 2 other lanes as well that we're going to do after this, but we're going to do the entire lane here with only Blade. No items, okay? And just Blade. See how he does. See how Blade's kit, that was from like what, 2017, 2018? Let's see how it holds up in content released in 2021. Now today in 2022 though, okay? So let's check it out. Blade is going to do really well here because it's the hood, okay? He's Mystic, he's a dimensional being. Energy adoption, fire, shake it off. Skill attackers purify 1 debuff whenever they dash backwards. Now, interesting stuff here. So, Blade with Danger Sense reduces ability accuracy, right? That includes stuff like this. So you're going to see against when I have Danger Sense, I'm going to be dashing back to shake it off, and sometimes it just won't work. Now, that's not that big of a deal, but that's just kind of something. Now, actually, you know what? Before we do this lane, I do want to show you one other thing first. We're going to go to a biohazard fight first. first, okay? Because I think it's better to show off this ability before you see it happening in real time. So, Biohazard, Nanoplague, Tunnel Vision, right? The only really important thing here to look out for is Biohazard. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, oh, you're going to just, what? You're going to parry and you're going to do bleed damage? Wow, it's going to take forever. No, not really. That's not what I'm going to do here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to initially parry and bleed the opponent and gain a bunch of power. But the reason why is because Blade has an unbelievably powerful tenacity mechanic. At full power, he's almost immune to debuffs. Like, you'll see in just a second here, when we get to 3 bars of power, wait till you see how quickly these bleeds and poisons fall off. So here we go. 3 bars of power. Let's see how we do here. Watch under Blade's health bar. The bleed didn't even have a chance to tick. It appears and it's gone. And I'm pretty sure it's literally doing no damage to us whatsoever. We can also parry that special 1 and do some damage. Now, the special 3, if you want to do some additional damage, keep in mind, 70% chance to stun, 100% chance to place 3 bleeds on. The more bleeds, the more power we gain back, alright? So, let's see, we didn't get the stun that time, but lots of bleeds on Thor. Let's get a little close to him, and just watch our power just go all the way up while he's ticking down. Okay, so we're already back up to that high tenacity, okay? Pretty darn good. Now here, at just about 3 bars of power, that bleed took us for a second, but we're back to having it tick for absolutely nothing, alright? So, keep in mind there's also Tunnel Vision here. So on Tunnel Vision, we have to do light, medium, right? So you can't do like your full 5-hit combos, but for nodes like this, Shifting Hazards, Biohazard, Blade is still really good for this stuff as long as the opponent isn't bleed immune. So yeah, Blade did this fight really well. And if we needed to regenerate, guess what? We can just regenerate. We can just hold block and regenerate. Pretty good. So yeah, spoiler alert, we did win this fight pretty well. There we go. End of that 70% health. So let's go back over here. And yeah, so energy adoption fire. When you hit the opponent, chance to gain the fire, but it won't happen if there's a bleed on the opponent. Very easy to access bleed, just on block, just parry. Skill attackers, shake it off. Inflicts poison every 7 seconds, dealing 160% of this champion's attack as direct damage over 32 seconds. But a couple things here. Number 1, danger sensed. Number 2, tenacity. All right? Bleed vulnerability. When you see bleed vulnerability, that's going to be really good for Blade. Really good for Blade, because there's going to be bleeds all over the place, so you're just going to be doing a lot more damage from everything, from all sources, okay? So right away, 14k mediums, almost 10k light attacks. I'm trying to shake it off. This is obviously the first fight that I did on the lane, right? I only went through this one time, and I'm saying to myself, I feel like it's affected by ability accuracy reduction. I'm not sure. Kind of feels like one of those things where, like, that shouldn't be affected, but there we go. It worked that time, right? But clearly, the danger sense is strong. With the Starkey synergy, it's even stronger. So it took a few dashbacks. Doesn't really matter, right? I was shrugging off the suicide debuffs I had. Now, these two I could shrug off, right? But, yeah, as you can see, this is a lane in Act 7 content, new content, when Blade was only a 5-star when it was released, and Blade is going to be one of the best options in the game on this lane for so many reasons. He has arguably the easiest access to bleed. You just parry, and then you have a bleed. You don't even have to hit the opponent to bleed. I believe he's the only champion in the game who can place a bleed without hitting the opponent. I think. I'm blocking, I'm parrying, I'm pretty sure off the top of my head. Now, Invisible Woman is not a, dimensional being or a villain or a mystic champ, so no danger sense in this fight. Let's see how he does without danger sense. But everything in this fight, Blade has a lot going for him. Bleed vulnerability, by the way, is huge, and he has, like I said, probably the easiest access to bleed. He's a skill champion, so he could shake all those debuffs off. 5 out of 6 of the defenders on this lane are either villains, mystics, or dimensional beings, okay? And additionally, there's that poison 32 seconds node, right? That, if we're at 3 bars of power, we're just gonna shrug it off pretty much instantly because it's tenacity, right? So, when you look at it, all of it that way, Blade pretty much, his kit, it works almost perfectly for this entire lane, right? Not even to mention plus 200% damage the entire time because of bleed vulnerability with additional damage on top because everyone else is a villain and a mystic, okay? So like I said, we're gonna do the entire lane, and what we wanna see specifically is if we can end the fight at 70% health. All of them, yes, but more importantly, the lane. I wanna see if the last fight we end at the full 70% health, okay? Because, like I said, man, back in the day, Blade was one of my workhorses, dude. I used this guy for everything because the hardest defenders were villains. They were tough mystics, right? Nowadays, there are much harder defenders that aren't mystics or villains, right? Off the top of my head, some of the more annoying defenders for me, obviously, there's like Domino, right? Domino. Nova is annoying for me personally, man. I feel like Nova is really annoying for me to fight. I fight him every day in IQ, and I hate it. Who else? Korg is annoying. Thing is annoying. Obviously, I know how to fight these guys well, but at the end of the day, they're harder defend. Look at that tenacity. Nice. They're harder defenders than, like, you know, a lot of the other mystics and villains in the game, right? APOC is technically a villain, right? But I don't know if I'd want to fight APOC with Blade, right? But yeah, point being though, back in the day, before like there were a lot of these like newer, tougher defenders, right? Blade was one of the top attackers in the entire game for good reason, okay? Now, up next, we have this OG Abomination. Now, this is an interesting one because when you bleed him, you put a poison on yourself. So there are a few things that we can do here, okay? We can rely on the ability accuracy reduction. We can try and shake it off, or we can do this, and we can build up our tenacity. This is why I wanted to show you the biohazard lane first, because as you can see, we're bleeding him, we're getting a poison on us, so that's going to be doing some damage. But what I want to do here is get some bleeds on him, right? We're getting poisoned. Look at us. Oh, we're draining. We're draining. There's even an incinerate on us now. We're going down. Our health is going down, but now we're at 3 bars of power, so let's see how this tenacity does over here, okay? At 3 bars, can we get a poison on us so we can see? No, we're just getting lucky now. Now we're just getting lucky. There we go. I guess Blade's too OP for poison. But right there, see, it was just shrugged right off. So there are some fights when you don't want to use your specials, you want to keep that tenacity high. And once you have it high, you can use some of that power, right, to heal up, and if you parry, they're going to be bleeding while you're regenerating, gaining more power as you use your power to heal. See that? So we were down to like 30% health in this fight, and now we're up to our 71% health, and Abomination's down below 10% health here, and Blade did a really good job here, especially when you consider, right, there is bleed vulnerability on this lane, so you really want to use a bleeder, right? And without the ability accuracy reduction from the danger sense, you're going to be getting a lot of poisons on you, sometimes more than you can handle by dashing back to use the shake it off node, right? Now, you might be able to win that fight, but keep in mind, Blade essentially ended up regenerating and healing up to full. So for that fight right there, Blade's really a top option there. Really, really good option, man. So Symbiote Supreme is, of course, a Mystic Champion, so Dormammu is giving us this danger sense here, right? And yeah, pretty much like, I think at this point, we're seeing that this is, you know, Act 7 lane completely decimated by Blade. So does he still hold up in this content? I'd say he does, man. I'd say he does. Even if you bring in a 5-star Blade, man, 5-star Blade's gonna do just fine here. We have one more fight on this lane, and so far we've ended every single fight at full health. All right, our full 70% health. Yellow Jacket, he's an annoying defender too for me. He really is. I don't know why. I do not like fighting Yellow Jacket after his buff. He bugs me. No pun intended. No pun intended. But he does bug me, right? So yeah, man, especially against Science Champs here, big damage. The special 1 hits pretty hard too. Not to mention the special 2 is obviously great, right? I think my favorite thing about Blade is how quickly he gains power. It's just so much fun to watch the power bar go. Now, you know, depending on the special, I'll parry it a lot. Like for example, right here, That's going to put a bleed on Yellow Jacket, which I love. I love that ability. I think it's really cool, very unique. And yeah, Blade is nuking this guy down, man. Just completely nuking him down, and look at our health. 71% health. Can we finish it off? Full Blade bar. We'll call it a full Blade bar, because it's not yellow, but it's full. So we'll do one more thing here. This is Act 7.3, the most recent content released. All right. There's some paradox stuff. But most importantly, do you bleed? The defender takes 100% less damage from any source except blocked attacks and bleed effects. All right. Now there's some paradox stuff here. Well, let's look at what it does. Okay. Basically, the defender is going to have additional combat power rate, 100% combat power rate until we get 3 or more paradox charges. We get the paradox charges when either one of us use a special attack, and we remove them by intercepting, okay? So we're gonna have to intercept a little bit here, but one thing that's great is that when the paradox charges get higher, our bleed potency goes up by plus 30% per each one, okay? So first things first, what I wanna do here is I wanna build up some power, okay? Before I start, getting the paradoxes, because this is not gonna give her any power right here, right? So that's what I wanna do here. So I want to kind of be in control here, place some bleeds before she can start using her specials, right? Now I'm gaining a lot of power. Now the only damage in this entire fight that we're going to see is from bleeds, okay? So now we have 3 paradox charges. So now combat power rate should be normal for her, okay? As you can see, these bleeds, they're starting to add up here. We got a little nice, quick, light intercept there. Nice and smooth. Gonna go for a special 2 here. Put lots of bleeds on. We have 9. Look at them ticking. No bleed vulnerability here, by the way. Like some Do You Bleed nodes have like enhanced bleed vulnerability where like it does like extra damage. Now this is just bleed. Now, there's some additional damage and potency from the paradox charges, don't get me wrong, but there's no like bleed vulnerability here, okay? Again, with the special 2, right? Pretty decent stuff. She's down to 5% health, right? Trying to build up some power so I could regenerate a little bit, but not even too concerned with it because she's about to drop dead. So, not too bad. We're going to go on and do one more fight here. Now, the next fight is a villain. Right? We have Green Goblin here. So we're going into the fight with a couple paradox charges, and we have danger sense now. So I'm like, let's see if we can approach this fight in a different way. Let's see if we can win this fight by doing 0 hits. I see the bleed. It's ticking pretty high. That is a lot of bleed damage right there. Look at that. That's about 9K per second. Because it's about, give or take, 4,400, 4,500 just about. It's like literally like 4,496 damage per half second. So not too bad, right? And Green Goblin is down to 56% health already. Now, the best part about this is that the entire time that we're like corner quaking here with Blade, we're also regenerating. So look at this. He's hitting our block. Cool, dude. Some block damage. Yeah, that's cool. You're bleeding. I'm gaining power from it. And I'm going to be regenerating the entire time, right? Back in the day, one of my first videos ever was 6.2 Mr. Sinister like this. And I killed him like this. Way back in the day, right? And it took like 6 minutes or so, right? Not the best option, but back in the day, even 5 stars were rarer, right? Not too many people had too many maxed out 5 stars. A lot of people had Blade. So I said, if you're stuck on Mr. Sinister, which so many people were, you have Blade. Blade could do it. Just like that. So look at this. 0 hits received, 0 hits done, 0 combos, highest combo, 0. So does Blade still hold up in 2022? Does Blade hold up as a 6-star? I would say yes, man. This guy is clearly still useful in 2022 for MCOC. For older content, absolutely. For newer content, 7.3 was just released, and that's where that Green Goblin fight was. And we got through it in 0 hits. At our full yellow bar, our full Blade bar of 70%. Right? Completely nuked that 7.1 lane. Nuked Red Hulk. I mean, like, Labyrinth's old at this point, right? but really great damage against that. The regen is amazing on this guy. The tenacity is really good. Not as good as, like, you know, Kingpin with Hood, for example, just shrugging it off. It's not like a shrug, but the tenacity is really good. So this guy definitely holds up in 2022. You know, often I'm like, maybe he can receive like a little value buff in order to keep up with the game. I don't even think he needs it, man. I think being released as a 6-star is going to like ignite new life into Blade, because at rank 3, at max sig, he really regenerates really well. Even at a lower sig, he does pretty okay too. So this guy is definitely a great champ still in 2022, in my opinion. I would personally love to pull him, and I would definitely rank him up if I do. But anyway, my dudes, that's going to be it for this video on this new series. Let me know what you think about the idea of it in the comment section below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos just like this coming to you in the future. I'll be seeing you around.